Colonel Oliver North has written more than a dozen books throughout his career, and his latest work reminds us that while change is constant, much remains the same.
Our nation's capital is in the midst of seemingly intractable, destructive disarray. Opponents of our commander-in-chief have launched intrigues in Congress to remove him from his post. Sound familiar? Spies, traitors, and terrorists abound, threatening the lives of those serving in our military. Look what just happened down in Pensacola, right? And in the midst of an undeclared war, the issue of whether women should be allowed in a combat zone has become a contentious issue. Some are saying the very form of our government is at risk. Now, you look at that and say, that's 2019. No, that's actually 1775 in America.
1775, the year before America gained independence, and the setting for his latest book, The Rifleman. It's a war story about heroes, both unsung and popular, like George Washington, Patrick Henry, and even Benedict Arnold, before he became a traitor.
Ultimately, in the entire revolution, there are more people who die of smallpox than die from British muskets and artillery. And yet we prevail. I mean, and if you can't see the Lord's hand in that, you're missing something.
A man named Daniel Morgan inspired North to write the book. The Virginia colonist rounded up a rifle company to meet up with General Washington, marching some 500 miles from Winchester to Boston.
And Washington tells Morgan, take your guys out, have them in position. As the sun comes up, aim at the redcoats with gold in their epaulets. Those are the officers.
It was unconventional warfare that effectively helped America's volunteer military beat back the British.
Every one of them could take a rifle like this, having been a tracker and a hunter, and kill a British redcoat at 250 yards or more, just like this.
North's book also details the role preachers played in the Revolution. People like Reverend Peter Muhlenberg, who's said to have preached from Ecclesiastes 3, which includes a time for war and a time for peace, from his Virginia pulpit, before dramatically removing his clerical robe to reveal a colonel's uniform.
And what's happening in the American colonies is of the Lord's design. And so the hymns that you see in this book are actually the ones that were being sung in churches all across the colonies that were loyal to the idea of independence and liberty. And a form of government, nobody ever thought of having a government whose seminal documents begin with the words, we the people. It's the only formative document, our Constitution, that gives homage to God, not some prince or some potentate.
North made headlines last summer for his abrupt departure as president of the National Rifle Association. But when it comes to defending American rights like the Second Amendment, he says it's individuals, not organizations, that make all the difference.
I found some things that I thought deserved an outside independent review. I was joined in that effort by several other people, all of whom have been fired. At the end of the day, what makes the difference in our country is individual citizens standing up and say, I want these freedoms. The forefathers of this nation fought for it, just like the ones in this book. They bled for it, and in many cases died of it.
For him, like so many who fought in America's Revolution, North says his Christian faith sustains him and keeps him grounded.
My reinforcement for 25 years in the U.S. Marine Corps was the 23rd Psalm. It lays out exactly what you're going through. And today it's the 26th Psalm. And the 26th Psalm ends with the words in my translation, my feet are on level ground. And I tell my young grandkids, I got 18 grandkids, I said, you've got to keep company with those who have integrity. Integrity has to be the core part of that loyalty. That's how I know that the good Lord's looking after me. And that's why my feet are on level ground.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News.